We have Tao Yang and Fernando. Hello, guys. How are you?
Hey
Hi,
guys, good
hi,
to have you
doing?
here.
Hey,
Thanks.
great to have you both here. We're going to record Tao. Tao just published a new PowerShell module about integration with Terraform Enterprise and Terraform Cloud. Then there is this new PowerShell model. What we can do with that, I think Tao is going to show us, but it's very interesting how we can integrate your pipeline or any other automation that you want with Terraform Enterprise and Cloud using PowerShell. And Fernando, welcome. You have something for us before Tao begins?
Yes, if you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel. It supports us and keep us make new videos. So please click on subscribe. And let's go, Tao. I'm excited to see what I have to show today.
All right, thanks for having me here, guys. So let me share my screen. Let me know once you guys can see it.
Yes, it's loading.
Yep.
Okay, so let me just give everyone a bit of background here. So I've seen this in many customers, like where customers use Terraform Enterprise as their main deployment solution for their cloud investments. So natively, if you use Terraform Enterprise or even Terraform Cloud, is that you can natively integrate a Git repo to your workspace. But the problem is that it's missing the CI/CD component. So with that, like the activities we normally carry out in our pipeline is we can do security scan, we can do testing of our code, and also we can deploy same set of code artifacts into multiple environments. But by natively, when you integrate a Git repo to Terraform Enterprise, it doesn't provide any of these capabilities. So so I've been doing some research, and this is something that actually one of my previous customer has gone down this path, is that instead of using the native Git integration within Terraform Enterprise or Terraform Cloud, is that we're using the Terraform Enterprise REST APIs to drive the deployment. So with that, we can actually use the CICD pipeline to interact with Terraforms using the Terraform Enterprise APIs. So in order to paint a bigger picture, I've created a PowerShell module. It's called TFE, nice and simple. So what this module provides is like there's functions in this module that allows you to create a new Terraform Enterprise workspaces and configure the workspace, also upload code into this workspace, and then and also add remove variables to the workspace, and then kick off a run to deploy your code. And also that you can do approve, you can do stop of the run at any stage, and also you can read the logs from your plan, from a Terraform plan, and also to display that and in the pipeline. So this code, I've recently just published the module into PowerShell Gallery. So if you go to PowerShell Gallery and you just search for TFE, you'll find it. The current version is 1.0.2, and I've got this in my GitHub repo as well. I'll make sure that George have this in the description in this video. So so in this repo, you'll find the source code for the Terraform for the PowerShell module. But also I've got since I mentioned pipeline, right? So I've got a working version of a CI/CD pipeline using Azure DevOps. to deploy a sample a application into Azure using Terraform Enterprise. So if you look at the native capability with GitHub integration, Git integration with Terraform Enterprise, is that it's really just a infrastructure as code solution. So you can't really deploy anything beyond your Terraform code. So by adding a pipeline into the picture, you can deploy your application as part of your pipeline in addition to your Terraform code. So the sample I've provided in this repo also compiles a C# Azure function app and deploy the function app into your Azure functions. So if you have a look at it here, the pipeline contains 3 stages. So firstly, I have the test and build stage. I'll do the security scan, do the link test using GitHub Superlinter, and then I'll validate the Terraform template, build the function app, and then publish the pattern. And once that's done, and then deploy that into different stages. Okay, so if we have a look at my Azure DevOps project, by the way, the code is actually in here already, right? So I've copied everything into my from my Azure DevOps project into this GitHub repo. I have a Azure pipeline here. So what this one does, firstly, I'm using the Microsoft Security Code Scan, Security Code Analysis extension to do the anti-malware scan and the credential scan of everything in my repository. And then I'm using GitHub Superlinter to run the various link tests against all the code in my repo. And after that, I'm doing a Terraform, essentially a Terraform plan. So in order to do that, firstly, just normally you probably, like in real life, the Terraform Enterprise workspace is probably created in a separate process. But just for the demonstration that the module, the PowerShell module, actually can do that as well. So I created a PowerShell script which is used by this pipeline is to create a workspace if it doesn't exist already. So so it creates the workspace if it doesn't exist, and then I'm pumping all the required variables. The variables that require, like a Terraform variables that require for my Terraform code, and as well as the variables for the provider, like the subscription ID, tenant ID, client ID to connect to my Azure subscriptions. So I'm uploading all these variables and these values to my Terraform workspace I've just created using this add TFE variable function. And after that is done, I'm creating a new configuration. So this is something that if you're using the Terraform Enterprise API, you have to create a new configuration, and then you create a run for the configuration. So, but in the portal is something that's hidden. But if you're using the API, you have to create a new configuration version, and then apply the run for that. So create a new config version using the command from that the module again, and then I'll upload my Terraform code and whatever the Terraform template, Terraform modules to the workspace to associate to this particular configuration version, and then I can create a run. And after the run, so when I create the run, I'm using a script here. Basically, what this one does is that I'm actually, for this, because this is a build and test stage, I'm not actually going to deploy the code. All I'm going to do is do a Terraform plan, make sure that capture the output, make sure I can actually do a plan, make sure the code is okay. So, and then I'm going to just discard it when the plan is finished, and then read the logs. And when if that's completed successfully, I'll delete a secret from TFE. So the idea being, if Terraform Enterprise is not you don't want to use TFE to store your secrets or sensitive information, you rather keep it somewhat more secure. The idea being that we can just upload, we can create the variables temporarily into your workspace, and after you create the run, after the run is completed, you can delete it. So you don't have to keep your variable permanently there. So if there's unauthorized access to your workspace, people can't actually create the run and then update the code and create the run to push anything to your environment, because that particular secret is not there. So in this case, I've deleted the secret for the service principal key. So people won't be able to, I know this, in my test environment that I'm using a Terraform Cloud organization that's created by Jorge. So it's shared between our team. So if anyone go into that Terraform Cloud instance and they want to deploy anything to my environment right now, they can't do that because I actually got the secret deleted. So, yep.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I'm assuming if someone want to do a pull request or to do on GitHub Actions is welcome. If everyone want to do a sample in GitHub, I think that's coming. I think it will be people interested to use that. And just one thing there, like when you say that you don't keep the plan, but they can, if they want to change this pipeline and they want to keep the plan, that's fine, because some people record the plan to make sure when they apply the same thing that was planned before. But something that if you want to do that, you can just go quick and change the pipeline. And,
that's right.
Yeah.
So I'm strictly following this, this principle here, because I'm at build and test stage. I'm actually not deploying anything at this stage. I'm just testing my code. So this is just part of the testing I'm doing, but at later stage, I'm using the exact same code base to create another config version, and then create another plan based on the same code base, and then at that later stage, I actually deploy the code.
Do you think that they can see the history of the runs on Terraform Cloud? Okay, they still can see. Okay.
Yeah, they can see that in the cloud, and they can actually see it in here as well.
Okay.
So, and then after that, I'm building a function app. So, because the function app, the sample I'm using is C#, so I'm using a Windows agent in a Microsoft hosted Windows agent to actually compile that to a DLL. So I'm doing all this new Git stuff, new Git restore, and then actually build it using .NET. So after that, I publish artifacts. So I create two sets of artifacts. One is the Terraform code by itself, and also the C# function app. And after that's published, then I'll deploy that to my first environment, which is lab environment. And as you can see, I'm doing exactly the same thing, try to create a workspace if it doesn't exist, but this time it exists already, so probably it's going to skip. And then pushing the variables again. So all these variables right now are stored in a variable group within Azure DevOps. So and the good thing is that if you're using Azure DevOps and you don't really want to store any variables or secrets in Azure DevOps, you can actually store them in a key vault and link that key vault to your variable group. So the pipeline will actually fetch the variables and secrets from Azure Key Vault.
Yeah, that's great because many people have problem how to manage secrets on Terraform locally on things, and that's a safe way to do it. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so then create a config version, upload the code, and then create a queue plan. By this time, you see that I'm actually going to, after this plan, I'm actually going to deploy that. There's a one parameter here that I was using before in the test is like, the way I code it here in this script is I have this cancel after plan. So I was passing this parameter here in the test stage. So make sure that the plan is canceled after it's finished. But in the deployment stages, I'm actually not specifying that, so actually it will get deployed. And after the deployment, again, remove the variables, remove the sensitive variables, or whatever variables you want to remove, you can remove them all. But for me, I think it's enough if I just remove the secrets. And then lastly, deploying the actual function app using this native Azure DevOps task. And then again, duplicating this to a dev stage, but the only difference is I have put this condition here. So this dev stage will only be kicked off if the code is actually for master branch. So the idea being if you configure using the same pipeline in a PR build, dev stage will not be deployed, only the lab stage will be deployed. So this is how you can control that, what stages you want to deploy, if you want just run a PR, or if you're deploying in different from different branches. So like in this sample, the overall time, it takes about between 20 to 25 minutes to run. So if probably don't have time to show you everything, but if I show you the result here, firstly, I'm using the GitHub superlinter. And basically, GitHub superlinter is just a container. So just basically do a Docker pull down the container and then run it locally on the Azure DevOps agent. And then you can see that it checks, like there's a linter for JSON, there's a linter for Markdown. There are also PowerShell script analyzers used for PowerShell scripts. And then you have TF-lint for Terraform. So runs pretty much everything. And I think there might be one for C# as well. So after this is all done, the next stage is creating Terraform workspace, adding the variables, and create a new config version, upload the code, and create a queue plan. So as you can see right now, it says the status is planned. And at that time, I discarded, so it didn't actually go ahead and deploy it. But I actually read there's one function I wrote in the module that actually I can read the logs. So I got all the logs and displayed in the standard output here. So in here, if you have someone to approve your PR and doing and you configure this pipeline to run as a part of the PR, the code reviewer or the PR approver can actually come in here and see what's going to be deployed if they're going to approve the PR. So the output of the Terraform plan is actually displayed here as well. And then lastly, delete the variable. Build function app using it's a .NET app, and then deploy that in deployment stages. So this is pretty much what I've done as to demonstrate how we actually integrate Terraform Enterprise or Terraform Cloud as in Visual Pipeline. It doesn't have to be Azure Pipeline; can be anything, as long as you can use PowerShell in this case. But I wrote in PowerShell because that's the language I'm most familiar with. But under the hood, it's really just invoking a bunch of REST APIs. If you want, the idea is there. If you want to rewrite in Python, that should be okay as well, or any other languages or Bash, that should be fine. The pipeline is part of the repo. So
I think it's great. And if maybe someone is asking where Terraform backend, remote backend fits on that, and my impression is that there are use cases where, because Terraform backend is always connected with a single repository, and then using this module and the REST API, we could combine multiple repos, or even that's not possible to do with Terraform Enterprise.
That's right.
And we're still using Terraform Enterprise because they stay to be stored there.
Yep.
You're still using the modules, REST from there, but you can combine repos and push the code that's going to be running.
That's right.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
So if you have different libraries or different tools or different code stored in another repository, you can definitely, as a part of your pipeline, that do a git pull, git clone to clone another repo, and then leverage the code there. So once you get into CICD pipeline, I think the only limitation is your imagination, right? You can pretty much do everything. So that really opened up a whole a lot of opportunities for you, how you actually deploy your code, and not just the infrastructure as code, like your infrastructure, but your application as well. So
yeah, it's great. I'm going to leave advice here for the Cloud Adoption Framework team, the CAF team that I'm part. By the way, I'm from Microsoft. Tao is working with a project with us. Fernando is a DevOps, and this thing here, we can, probably integrate with the Cloud Adoption Framework, with the rover, to integrate with, Terraform Enterprise and Terraform Cloud when you need more than the remote backend. I think something they want to see this video later and maybe integrate with the CAF framework. Thank you a lot, Tao. Thank you, Fernando. Fernando, have any final question for Tao?
Oh, I'm saying you made security as your first concern, because this is an application for enterprise, and
yep.
I like the way you are using the secrets on Terraform only on the deployment time, and you are removing and storing it in a safe place, like in the Azure Key Vault. That's a safe place. But congrats, it was very nice work.
Thank you. Because where I've seen all of the the places I've seen using customers using Terraforms, and the place I'm working with Jorge right now, they are big banks. So security is definitely one of the main drive for any of these applications, and so it's good that many big organizations will have their approved system where they allow to store secrets, and I think this will probably satisfy some of the requirements that you don't actually potentially you don't even need to normally what people would consider is adding another HashiCorp product like HashiCorp Vault.
Yep.
store the credentials. But if you using pipeline, actually, only add credentials like secrets to your workspace at the time of execution and then remove it straight after that, and that might satisfy some requirements. So I think, yeah, that's because I've seen this in customers' environment. I think that's why I actually designed my pipeline that way. So.
Thanks, Tao. Thank you, Fernando. And if someone wanna, help Tao to improve this module, has any idea or any experience with Terraform, just do a pull request. Pretty sure that Tao will be happy to review that and match.
Yeah, it's a open, it's a public repo. So yeah, feel free to create PR.
Yeah, follow Tao. Tao is a 7-time MVP. From Microsoft. I used to be Microsoft MVP as well, and we have done a lot of things together. And follow Tao. I'm pretty sure that Tao has your YouTube Tao Consulting there. There's a lot of things, Azure Insight Management book, and a lot of things, things that Tao has done.
Yep.
And thank you, Tao.
And activate. Thank you, Tao. And activate the notifications to watch more videos. We'll have more Azure DevOps videos coming, so GitLab actions, everything comes so activate the notifications to see when our videos are online. Thank you, Tao. Thank you, Jorge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Bye.